Hello and welcome to another Kingshot video. Today we are going to be going through the Alliance Mobilization event. We're going to be going through some frustrations, which I think is fair to say. If you're an Alliance member and you're an active one, these can be quite frustrating. We're going to go through some tips. We're going to go through how you maximize the missions in these sort of events and how you can chain them to other events, which is always quite nice. We're going to go through how you refresh your top missions. I can't show you the 200% one because I've already done it today. And we're going to show you kind of like how the system works. As you can see, you go through a league tier system. We're only in about day 55-ish, day 56, so we've kind of been promoted a couple of times. So we're just going to go from there and sort of discuss the event in general. So this sort of comes around every few weeks, really. Quite a nice event because you can chain it to other events that are going on at the moment. So, for example, you have the city development event that's going on at the moment. And if you look in here, you'll see raise governor gear max score by 1. And you'll also see some points for construction speed ups. So again, you can take on these governor gear max score by 3,000 ones or any of these ones, and you can chain those events together. So you're getting points in both events, which will help your account value overall. Again, if you're spending some gems, I don't think this ever lines up with Hero Roulette, but if it did, that'd be quite nice. The sort of lower point versions of this are quite nice because if you do your arena challenges every day, it comes to nearly that anyway. So by the time you spent a couple of gems on a few other different things, you're likely to be able to complete those pretty easily. Quite a nice point total as well, I would say, for the gem spend ones. Again, in this event that we're currently in, you'll see there was a speed up. So if you are going to speed things up during this event, there is probably events with better value for speed ups, if I'm being honest, like Hall of Governors and things like that. But reality is, if you are going to be speeding up anyway, make sure you take on these. But first of all, check how many speed ups you've actually got. Otherwise, you end up in the bottom half of this here. And some people, unfortunately, have been having some of these sort of tasks, particularly these sort here, where it's 3,600 minutes of speed ups. And they've probably had that for 3 or 4 days. So my first sort of tip during this event is if you take on a mission, try and complete it as fast as possible. And the reason I'm saying try and complete it as fast as possible is because they take 30 minutes to refresh anyway. And the likelihood is over the sort of length of this event, as it's over quite a few days, you will get the same attempt to do the same mission again. So if you're not quite prepared for it, let someone else do it now, and then maybe put in your Alliance chat that next time it comes up, you'd quite like to do this one because you've now got the ability to be able to complete it. You will also see there are different rarity levels of these. You have gold, you have the sort of blue ones, and you have the epic ones, which are, I think that's rare and that's epic technically. The purple ones, which are kind of like the mid-tier ones. And they produce different points based around the level of the challenge. Obviously, they scale up in the amount of things that you need. So the blue version of this mission for gems is 5,000. I believe this one is 30,000. I think there's also a 50,000 gem one as well, where it sort of scales up into 600-ish points, something like that. But the purple gem one, as you can see there, is 10,000. I believe there's also a purple gem one for 15,000. So there you go. So the points do scale up. Same as with all of them, with the speed ups and things like that. And if you have quite active R4s or an R5, they will likely refresh these for you throughout the day. Because realistically, the likelihood of someone using 7,200 minutes of speed up on the last day is quite low. So we'll refresh those. And we're trying to, because we're quite a low spend for fellowship, we're trying to basically maximize the more free-to-play elements of these kind of events, and we'll kind of go through those ones as we go. I'm going to refresh this one as well because I would assume no one's going to use these until tomorrow and this event will be over. So the sort of really free-to-play friendly ones, which I quite like, I won't be using that one. So the free-to-play friendly ones that I actually quite like are the things like the sort of spend gems, because we do tend to spend a few gems every day, particularly the blue version of that. I think they're quite easy with the way that gems accumulate in this game. Sometimes if you've saved up speed ups for a while and it mixes in with an event, you might find some of the speed up ones quite good. I will show you how to check to make sure you've got enough speed ups though before you take on the challenge shortly. This is probably my favourite one of all the event. And if I ever get a chance to get hold of the 10 one, which is the gold one, or any of these, I normally take them on because you can do it passively. It's not if you personally complete it. It's if someone in your alliance also raises a terror and you are part of that rally, you will also tick off one of these terrors. So that one, for me, is the best one. You get quite a decent amount of points, really, for what it is. You have resource gathering. Again, everyone should be resource gathering pretty much every day. So again, free to play friendly. Great way of using your sort of commanders to go out and do that. I also quite like the beast ones. So I personally use these and chalk them off alongside my things like my watchtower. Or if it's a sort of stamina heavy day on one of the events, I will do that. Or at the moment, we had until yesterday, I think it was, the Diana event. So again, you'll be sweeping beasts to try and get pouches. So, you know, there was kind of like a double element to that one as well. I like the troop power ones. Again, you have to be kind of careful because I wouldn't take on the 120k troop power one on the last day. Because then I would have to use speed ups to finish it. But if you're going to take it on, you could do that over a couple of days. It's quite a long-winded one, but it is 430 points. So if everyone kind of did 400 points a day, you'd be in quite a good place as an alliance mobilization sort of team, really. So the other one is, like I say, you've got these speed ups, and some of them for any speed up I quite like because you can use them for sort of mix and match. If you've got to do a couple of hours of troops, if you want to do a couple hours of construction, a couple hours of research, you can just mix and match them all into there. So these ones are quite good. The more specific ones are a little bit harder to do, like these. And 7,200 minutes of research. That is a lot of research for 450 points. So I don't necessarily recommend these unless you're tying it into another event. Normally I would save speed ups for another event, really ideally. These two challenges here have been on here now for about 5 or 6 days. So realistically, they probably should have refreshed them. You can do that. So you just lose the attempt. You can just give up on it and you will just lose the attempt. You can buy extra attempts, and I tend to do the 200 gem ones pretty much. Again, you can link them to get in gems here. So if you were going to do the sort of 200 gem ones, I think you can get 5 200 gem ones a day, something like that. Again, you're pretty much 1,000 into doing this. By the time you've done your arena, you might be talking 3,000 gems. So you've nearly completed that challenge as long as you've got it active. The key is to make sure you get them active before. There are some spend challenges on here as well. I don't think anyone's got one at the moment, and there's not one on there, but it sort of comes up as a little gift box like this, and it's a different amount of points depending on how many top-up points technically you'll have spent to actually acquire. But I just wanted to show the speed ups and sort of where you find it. So if you go into your backpack and you go to speed ups, you can look at it via hours or you can look at it via minutes, but to do that you press this button in the top corner and you'll be able to see your speed ups in hours and minutes. If you press minutes, you will see what you've got. So I wouldn't take on a 7,200 research speed up challenge at the moment because I've only got 4,906 minutes. I might take on something that would say a 6,000 speed up altogether because I can copy it across the soldier training and the research speed up. But the thing is, just be careful before you take on that challenge. Just make sure you've actually got the amount of speed ups that you need to do it, or you're pretty close so you can unlock it quickly. And other than that, there isn't a great deal really to say about Alliance Mobilization. It's quite a nice one because it sort of runs alongside other events. You can get some pretty cool prizes, so there is a lot of unlocks. If you do your personal points, you can get speed ups, you can get gold bucks, you can get keys. All these unlock, and if you've got an active alliance, you'll get through these points quite comfortably. And it helps everyone, to be honest, as long as you've got the right amount of personal points to be able to activate these. These really help. And you're talking about 5 hammers there for free. I mean, what I do like about this game is it does give you a lot of things for free, which is quite nice. So they're good. The other thing is once you've gone beyond that, it gives you these crates. And again, I quite like these crates because it gives you alliance tokens, which is nice. And it also gives you alliance chests, which can actually involve mythic general shards, lucky hero gear, 1,000 gems, a little bit of gear XP and some general speed ups and 100 gems. Definitely worthwhile doing for the 200 gems, I would say, particularly the extra challenges, because the more of these boxes you unlock, the more chances you are to get some gold shards and 1,000 gems, which will then pay for 5 of those sort of extra challenges that you've taken on. So well worthwhile doing that, I would say. This is another governor gear one. I would love to do that, but I've sort of used all my governor gear yesterday. I used a lot of these challenges yesterday alongside it, and put them into this event here. And I was sat in first for a little while. So I've been trying to make sure that then I'm maximising maybe getting another 25k gems. Likelihood is I'll probably finish somewhere here, so I'll get 16k gems and some speed ups, while also doing Alliance Mobilization sort of challenges, and I obviously get the extras from here as well. So it's just a case of joining everything up as best you can. Like I say, my favourites are definitely the Terrors. I quite like the Beasts. The Gathering ones are good, and you'll see the sort of power base I've done nearly 50 missions, so I've done a lot of the lower level missions that don't really cost you anything to do apart from the gems to actually take on the extra challenges, whereas some people go about it the other way and they'll get 26, 27 challenges but still get a pretty reasonable amount of points. But I personally like to sort of chunk the smaller ones and do as many as I can, just to try and be active really and help the Alliance. We will probably just about finish second, which is a good effort, I think. But like I said, I think we just need to perhaps do a little bit more work around education, because some of these players here have had these pretty much all the way through the event. I think there is actually a way of checking how many players you've actually got doing it. Yeah, you have. So, we've got some players that are down at 150 points, but have probably had the same event on for, 3 or 4 days and may not complete that. So, not many, to be fair, but a few. So it's good practice to be able to make sure if they have not got the ability to do it, just give it up and go for one that's a bit simpler, I think, is probably the key. But trying to share around the Beasts and the Terrors is probably the easiest way of doing it. Like I say, the gem one's very situational. I personally would not spend the Mythic Hero Shards in this event. I would wait for Hall of Governors. I'm probably not even going to wait for Hall of Governors, though, which is next week. I'm likely to put it into this Grow one tomorrow. Because what I found with Hall of Governors is a lot of the big spenders try really hard in Hall of Governors, whereas in these slightly smaller events that run alongside, they tend not to put as much into it. So as a sort of free-to-play or low spender, you tend to be able to place quite high, depending on what's happening situationally, if you sort of see them on the calendar and save forward. We've also got Swordland tomorrow, which I'm quite looking forward to, and like I say, Alliance Championship again next week and Hall of Governors. And I think we've got Hero Roulette on Tuesday again, so we've got Zoe for the second time on Tuesday, which would be good. But that is pretty much everything for Alliance Mobilization. Like I say, you go through the tiers and you get better rewards as you go through the tiers. We will go up again, I guess. It's a case of making sure you maximise those rewards. So that was everything I got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck playing Kingshot.